blessed Shabbat, brothers and sisters, Hebrews in Jamaica, the Caribbeans, the West, to the four corners of the earth, scattered greetings. This Shabbat lesson, we're going to continue series, the second book of Adam and Eve. Right, brothers and sisters? The second book of Adam and Eve, part 2. We're going to pick it up at chapter 17. Right, brothers and sisters? Chapter 17. Alright? And let's get into it. Yared turns Mortinet. Yared turns Mortinet. He is Lord away to the land of Cain, where he sees many voluptuous sights. Yared barely escapes with a clean heart. That's how filthy Cain's seed and his descendants were. They were the serpent, they are the serpent seed till this day, brothers and sisters. You understand? Working wicked throughout the earth, brothers and sisters. Cain's seed and Esau's seed is also mixed together, brothers and sisters. You understand? Because Esau is a mingled nation, a mingled seed. You understand? And their lot is in Mount Seir. And Mount Seir is located in Saudi Arabia. Arabia, brothers and sisters. Right? Northeast Africa. Right, brothers and sisters? East Saudi Arabia. Right? They know such thing as Middle East, brothers and sisters. That's a made up term to deceive you and to throw you off course, so you won't know the biblical location of countries that is spoken of, brothers and sisters. Alright? So let's get into the lesson. Then Yared kept his father's commandment and arose like a lion over his people. He fed them in righteousness and innocence, and commanded them to do nothing without his counsel, for he was afraid concerning them, lest they should go to the children of Cain. Wherefore did he give them orders repeatedly, and continued to do so until the end of the 485th year of his life. At the end of these said years, there came unto him this sign, as Yared was standing in like a lion before the bodies of his fathers, praying and warning his people. Satan envied him and wrought a beautiful operation, because Yared would not let his children do aught without his counsel. Satan then appeared to him with 30 men of his hosts in the form of handsome men, Satan himself being the elder and tallest among them, with a fine beard. Then stood at the mouth of the cave and called all Yared from within it. He came out to them and found them looking like fine men, full of light and of great beauty. He wondered at their beauty and at their looks, and thought within himself whether they might not be of the children of Cain. He said also in his heart, as the children of Cain cannot come up to the height of this mountain, and none of them is so handsome as these appear to be. And among these men there is not one of my kindred, they must be strangers. Then Yared and they exchanged and greeting, and he said, Then Yared and they exchanged a greeting, he said to the elders among them, O my father, explain to me the wonder that is in thee, and tell me who these are with thee, for they look to me like strange men. Then the elder began to weep, and the rest wept with him, and he said to Yared, I am Adam, whom Elohim made first, And this is Abel my son, who was killed by his brother Cain, into whose heart Satan put to murder him. Then this is my son Seth, whom I asked Yahuwah, who gave him to me to comfort me instead of Abel. Then this one is my son Enos, son of Seth, and that other one is Canaan, son of Enos, and the other one is Mahalalel, son of Canaan, thy father. But Yared remained wondering at the appearance and at the speech of the elder to him. Then the elder said to him, Marvel not, O my son, we live in the land north of the garden, which Elohim created before the world. He would not let us live there, but place us inside the garden below, which ye are now dwelling. But after that I transgressed, he made me come out of it, and I was left to dwell in this cave. Great and sore troubles came upon me. And when my death drew near, I commanded my son Seth to tend his people well, and this my commandment is to be handed from one to another unto the end of the generations to come. But, O Yared, my son, we live in a beautiful regions, while you live here in misery, as this thy father Mahalalel informed me, telling me that a great flood will come and overwhelm the whole earth. Therefore, O my son, fearing for your sakes, I rose and took my children with me, and came hither for us to visit thee and thy children. But I found thee standing in this cave weeping, and thy children scattered about this mountain in the heat and in misery. But, O my son, as we missed our way and came as far as this, we found other men below this mountain, who inhabit a beautiful country full of trees and of fruits and of all manner of verdure. It is like a garden, so that when we found them, we thought they were you, until thy father Mahalalel told me they were no such thing. Now, therefore, O my son, hearken to my counsel and go down to them, thou and thy children. Ye will rest from all this suffering in which ye are. But if thou wilt not go down to them, then arise, take thy children, and come with us to our garden. Ye shall live in our beautiful land, and ye shall rest from all this trouble, which thou and thy children are now bearing. But Yared, when he heard this discourse from the elder, wondered and went hither and thither, but at that moment he found not one of his children. Then he answered and said to the elder, Why have you hidden yourself until this day? And the elder replied, If thy father had not told us, we should not have known it. Then Yared believed his words were true. So that elder said to Yared, Wherefore didst thou turn about so and so? And he said, I was seeking one of my children to tell him about my going with you, and about their coming down to those about whom thou hast spoken to me. When the elder heard Yared's intention, he said to him, Let alone that purpose at present, and come with us. Thou shalt see our country. If the land in which we dwell pleases thee, we and thou shall return hither, and take thy family with us. But if our country does not please thee, thou shalt come back to thine own place. And the elder urged Yared to be before one of his children. And the elder urged Yared to go before one of his children came to counsel him otherwise. Yared then came out of the cave and went with them and among them, and they comforted him until they came to the top of the mountain of the sons of Cain. Then said the elder to one of his companions, We have forgotten something by the mouth of the cave, and that is the chosen garment we had brought to clothe Yared withal. And then said to one of them, Go back. He then said to one of them, Go back thou, someone, and we will wait for thee here until thou come back. Then will we clothe Yared, and he shall be like us, good, handsome, and fit to come with us into our country. Then that one went back, but when he was a short distance off, the elders called to him and said to him, Tarry thou until I come up and speak to thee. Then he stood still, and the elder went up to him and said to him, One thing we forgot at the cave, it is this, to put out the lamp that burns inside it about the bodies that are therein. Then come back to us quick. That that one went, and the elder came back to his fellows and to Yared, and they came down from the mountain, and Yared with them, and they stayed by a fountain of water near the house of the children of Cain, and waited for their companion until he brought the garment for Yared. He then, who went back to the cave, put out the lamp and came to them, and brought a phantom with him, and showed it them. And when Yared saw it, he wondered at the beauty and grace thereof, and rejoiced in his heart, believing it was all true. But while they were staying there, three of them went into houses of the sons of Cain, and said to them, Bring us today some food by the fountain of water for us and our companions to eat. But when the sons of Cain saw them, they wondered at them, and thought, These are beautiful to look at, and such as we never saw before. So they rose and came with them to the fountain of water to see their companions. They found them so very handsome that they cried aloud about their places for others to gather together and come and look at these beautiful beings. Then they gathered around, both men and women. Then the elders said to them, We are strangers in your land. Bring us some food and drink, and you and your women, to refresh ourselves with you. When those men heard these words of the elders, every one of Cain's sons brought his wife, and another brought his daughter, and so many women came to them, every one addressing Yared either for himself or for his wife, all alike. But when Yared saw what they did, his very soul wrenched itself from them, neither would he taste of their food or of their drink. The elder saw him as he wrenched himself from them, and said to him, Be not sad, I am the great elder, as thou shalt see me do thyself in like manner. Then he spread his hands and took out of the women, took one of the women, and five of his companions did the same before Yared, that he should do as they did. But when Yared saw them working infamy, he wept and said in his mind, My fathers never did the likes. He then spread his hands and prayed with a fervent heart and with much weeping, and entreated Eliakim to deliver him from their hands. No sooner did Yared begin to pray than the elders fled with his companions, for they could not abide in a place of prayer, brothers and sisters. You understand? That's why it's very important to pray, to fast and pray, brothers and sisters, because Satan cannot dwell amongst a person, a people that's steadfast in prayer, brothers and sisters. Let's look at what the Holy Scripture says about prayer. Right? Alright, brothers and sisters. So turn your scriptures, turn your Bible to Philippians 4. We'll take it from verse 3 to 6. 1611 KJV, brothers and sisters. And I entreat thee also, true yoke fellow, right? Help those women which labor with me in the gospel. Right? Let's read that over again, brothers and sisters. Because you have two types of women. Right? You have the Jezebels and the harlots, and you have the godly woman. You understand, brothers and sisters? We need to encourage our godly so-called black women, daughters of Zion, the true daughters of Zion, who do not seek after the world, nor things of the world, and the lust thereof. You understand? But have a spiritual mind. Those are the women that is suitable for an upright and just man that fear the Most High and keep his laws, commandments, and statutes. those couples or those pairs are even yoked. You understand, brothers and sisters? So there's two type of women and you have two type of men. You have the masculine, you understand, God-fearing men, so-called black men that fear the most and keep his laws, commandments, and statutes. And then you got the feminine, weak, simple-minded, simple men that practice symptology, the worshipping of women and put them on pedestals and supporting and encouraging the prostitutional lifestyle of these damaged and wicked and shameless women that does not have the Most High in all their bands, including the weak, effeminate men that support them. You understand? So you gotta know the difference, brothers and sisters. You understand? So let's continue. Read this over again. Philippians, right? Chapter 4. We're going to take it from verse 3 to 6 from the 1611 KJV. And I entreat thee also, a true yoke fellow, help those women which labored with me in the gospel, with Clement also, and with other my fellow laborers, whose names are in the book of life. Rejoice in Yahuwah always. And again I say rejoice. That's a little song. Rejoice in Yahuwah always. I say again rejoice. Right? Right, brothers and sisters? Let your moderation be known unto all men. Yahuwah is at hand. Let me repeat that. Yahuwah is at hand. Let me repeat that one more time for you so you can understand. Yahuwah is at hand. Be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known unto Elohim, brothers and sisters. Right? So the last books of the Bible is saying also here too. You know what I mean? Verse 44. No sooner did Yared begin to pray, than the elder fled with his companions, for they could not abide in a place of prayer. You understand, brothers and sisters? They can't abide, brothers and sisters. Okay, brothers and sisters, here's another chapter. Another verse. Right? From the 611 King JV. Right? About prayer. Right? Jeremiah 33. Right, brothers and sisters, 1611 KJV. Right? Verse 1 to 3. Jeremiah 33. Right? Verse 1 to 3. Moreover, the word of Yahuwah came unto Jeremiah the second time, while he was yet shut up in the court of the prison, saying, Thus saith Yahuwah, the maker thereof, Yahuwah that formed it to establish it. Yahuwah is his name, brothers and sisters. Call unto me, and I will answer thee, and show thee great and mighty things which thou knowest not. So you must call upon him in prayer, brothers and sisters, in spirit and in truth. And Yahuwah is faithful and just and righteous to answer your prayer in Yahusha Mashiach's name, because you cannot go to the Father unless you come through the Son, brothers and sisters. You understand? A chapter a day keep the devil away. Yes, right? So let's continue. Verse 45. From the lost books of the Bible, brothers and sisters, and the forgotten book of Eden. Right? It's coming out from the second book of Adam and Eve. Then Yared turned round about, could not see them, but found himself standing in the midst of the children of Cain. He then wept and said, O Elohim, destroy me not with this race. So you got to understand, brothers and sisters, this encounter or event that's happening right now, this was prophesied by his father. Yared fathers prophesied that they would be beguiled and deceived to go mingle with the children of Cain. I see is a heart Satan is working towards a little by little. You see that, brothers and sisters? Right? Then Yared turned round about, could not see them, but found himself standing in the midst of the children of Cain. He then wept and said, O Elohim, Destroy me not with this race, concerning which my fathers have warned me. For now, O my Yahuwah Elohim, I was thinking that those who appeared unto me were my fathers. But I have found them out to be the devils, who allured me by this beautiful operation until I believed them. But now I ask thee, O Elohim, to deliver me from this race among whom I am now staying, as thou didst deliver me from those devils. Send thy angel to draw me out of the midst of them, for I have not myself power to escape from among them. When Yahweh had ended his prayer, Elohim sent his angel in the midst of them, who took Yared and set him upon the mountain and showed him the way, gave him counsel, and then departed from him. Right, brothers and sisters? So we are chapter 18. Right? Confusion in the cave of treasures. Miraculous speech of the dead Adam. The children of Yared were in the habit of visiting him hour after hour. That's their father, Yared, right? That's their father, Yared, right? Visiting him hour after hour to receive his blessing and to ask his advice for everything they did. And when he had a work to do, they did it for him. But this time, when they went into the cave, they found not Yared, but they found the lamp put out and the bodies of the fathers thrown about, and voices came from them by the power of Elohim that said, Hashatan in an operation has deceived our son, wishing to destroy him as he destroyed our son Cain. They said also, Yahuwah Elohim of heaven and earth delivered our son from the hand of Hashatan, who wrought a great and false operation before him. They also spake of other matters by the power of Elohim. So you see that, brothers and sisters, the word of the Most High, sent by the Most High himself, right, that caused the dead to speak. So the Most High caused Adam to speak in his form of death, brothers and sisters. Right? Let's go over this again so you can understand. Let's go over this so you can understand, brothers, so you can understand. Right? But this time when they went into the cave, they found not Yared, but they found the lamp put out and the bodies of the fathers thrown about, and voices came from them by the power of Elohim. Right? And voices came from them by the power of Elohim. Right? That said, Hashatan in operation has deceived our son, wishing to destroy him as he destroyed our son Cain. Then said also, Yahuwah Elohim of heaven and earth, deliver our son from the hand of Hashatan, who wrought a great and false operation before him. They also spake of other matters by the power of Elohim. And when the children of Yared heard these voices, they feared and stood weeping for their father, for they knew not what had befallen him. And they wept for him that day until the setting of the sun. Then came Yared with a woeful countenance, wretched in mind and body, and sorrowful at having been separated from the bodies of his fathers. But as he was drawing near to the cave, his children saw him and hastened to the cave and hung upon his neck, crying and saying to him, O Father, where hast thou been, and why hast thou left us, as thou was not wont to do? And again, O Father, when thou didst disappear, the lamp of the bodies of our fathers went out, and the bodies were thrown about, and voices came from them. When Yared heard this, he was sorry and went into the cave, and there found the bodies thrown about, the lamp put out, and the fathers themselves praying for his deliverance from the hand of Hashatan. You see that, brother? See this miraculous speech from the dead Adam? Let me read that over again, brothers and sisters, so you can understand. When Yared heard this, he was sorry and went into the cave, and there found the bodies thrown about, the lamp put out, and the fathers themselves praying. You see that? The fathers themselves praying, brothers and sisters, for his deliverance from the hand of Hashatan. Let me read it over again because I think many of you, it's going to fly over your heads. You understand, brothers and sisters? Because you see, if you're not moving in the spirit of the Ruach HaKodesh or the guidance of the Most High, brothers and sisters, you cannot see the things of the spirit because you're in the carnal flesh, you're in the spirit, you're in the carnal flesh, you're in the fleshly eyes, the fleshly minds. So the things of the spirit or the things of heaven you will not see because you're not inclined with the Most High, you're not intimate with the Most High for him to show you that mystery. You understand? The children of Yared were in the habit of visiting him hour after hour to receive his blessing and to ask his advice for everything they did. And when he had a work to do, they did it for him. But this time when they went into the cave, they found not Yared, and they found the lamp put out and the bodies of the fathers strewn about, and voices came from them by the power of Elohim that said, Shatan in operation has deceived our son, wishing to destroy him as he destroyed our son Cain. Then said also Yahweh Elohim of heaven and earth, deliver our son from the hand of Shatan, who wrought a great and false operation before him. They also spake of other matters by the power of Elohim. And when the children of Yared heard these voices, they feared and stood weeping for their father, for they knew not what had befallen him. And they wept for him that day until the setting of the sun. Then came Yared with a woeful countenance, wretched in woe in mind and body, and sorrowful at having been separated from the bodies of his father. But as he was drawing near to the cave of his children, saw him, and hastened to the cave, and hung upon his neck, crying and saying to him, O Father, where hast thou been, and why hast thou left us, as thou was not wont to do? And again, O Father, when thou didst disappear, the lamp over the bodies of our fathers went out. The bodies were thrown about, and voices came from them. And voices came from them. And voices came from them, brothers and sisters. When Yared heard this, he was sorry and went into the cave, and there found the bodies thrown about, the lamp put out, and the fathers themselves praying, brothers and sisters. And when Yared heard this, he was sorry and went into the cave, and there found the bodies thrown about, the lamp put out, and the fathers themselves praying. When Yared heard this, he was sorry and went into the cave, and there found the bodies thrown about, the lamp put out, and the fathers themselves praying for his deliverance from the hand of Shatan. Then Yared fell upon the bodies and embraced them and said, O my fathers, through your intercession let Elohim deliver me from the hand of Shatan. And I beg you will ask Elohim to keep me and to hide me from him until the day of my death. Then all the voices ceased, save the voice of our father Adam, who spake to Yared by the power of Elohim, just as one would speak to his fellow. You see, so that's saying to you, just as his fellow, meaning when he was alive, he would speak to another as if he were alive, brothers and sisters. That's what it's meaning. Then all the voices ceased, save the voice of our father Adam, who spake to Yared by the power of Elohim. So he did not do it on his own, it's by the will and the power of the Most High Elohim. Just as one would speak to his fellow, saying, O Yared, my son, offer gifts to Elohim for having delivered thee from the hand of Shatan. And when thou bringest those offerings, so be it that thou offerest them on the altar of which I did offer Then also be aware of Hashatan, for he deluded me many a time with these operations, wishing to destroy me, but Elohim delivered me out of his hand. Command thy people that they be on their guard against him, and never cease to offer up gifts to Elohim. Then the voice of Adam also became silent, and Yared and his children wondered at this. Then they lay the bodies as they were at first, and Yared and his children stood praying the whole of that night until the break of day. Then Yared made an offering and offered it up on this altar as Adam had commanded him, and as he went up to the altar he prayed to Elohim for mercy and for forgiveness of his sins concerning the lamb going out. Then Elohim appeared unto Yared on the altar and blessed him and his children, and accepted their offerings, and commanded Yared to take off the sacred fire from the altar, and with it to light the lamp that shed light on the body of Adam. Right, brothers and sisters? So we had chapter 19. Right, brothers and sisters? Chapter 19. The children of Yared were led astray. Then Elohim revealed to him again the promise he had made to Adam. He explained to him the 5,500 years and revealed unto him the mystery of his coming upon the earth. And Elohim said to Yared, as to that fire which thou hast taken from the altar to light the lamp withal, let it abide with you to give light to the bodies, and let it not come out of the cave until the body of Adam comes out of it. But, O Yared, take care of the fire, that it burn bright in the lamp, neither go thou again out of the cave until thou receivest an order through a vision, and not in apparitions when seen by thee. You see, the Most High is telling you, he visits you in vision and dreams, not deceit and apparition as our Hashatan has done throughout our generation, through our forefathers' time, and even today in this modern time. Because this modern time, modern day, are the last days, brothers and sisters. Right? Then command again thy people not to hold intercourse with the children of Cain, and not to learn their ways, for I am Elohim, who loves not hatred and works of iniquity. Elohim gave also many other commandments to Yared and blessed him, and then withdrew his word from him. Then Yared drew near with his children, took some fire, and came down to the cave and lighted the lamp before the body of Adam. And he gave his people commandments as Elohim had told him to do. This sign happened to Yared at the end of his 450th year, as did also many other wonders we do not record, but we record only this one for shortness' sake, and in order not to lengthen our narrative. And Yared continued to teach his children 80 years, but after that they began to transgress the commandments he had given them, and to do many things without his counsel. They began to go down from the holy mountain one after another, and to mix with the children of Cain in foul fellowships. Now the reason for which the children of Yared went down the holy mountain is this, that we will now reveal unto you. Right, chapter 20. Ravishing music, strong drink, loosed among the sons of Cain. They don colorful clothing. The children of Seth look on with longing eyes. They revolt from wise counsel. They descend the mountain into the valley of iniquity. They cannot ascend the mountain again. Wow. Wow, brothers and sisters. After Cain had gone down to the land of dark soil, and his children had multiplied therein, there was one of them whose name was Ginon, son of Lamech. the blind who slew Cain. You see that? But as to this Jinnon, Hashatan came into him into his childhood, and he made sundry trumpets and horns and string instruments, cymbals and sorceries, and lyres and harps and flutes. And he played on them at all times and at every hour. And when he played on them, Hashatan came into them, so that from among them were heard beautiful and sweet sounds that ravished the heart. Then he gathered companies upon companies to play on them, and when they played, it pleased well the children of Cain, who inflamed themselves with sin among themselves and burned as with fire. So this is showing you again, brothers and sisters, that you have to be careful of the music that you listen to in this time, because Hashatan dwell in them, and in those artists that sell their soul unto the devil. So when they play their sweet music, it entices you to do wicked things and think wicked thoughts, brothers and sisters. Right? Then he gathered companies upon companies to play on them, and when they played, it pleased well the children of Cain, who inflamed themselves with sin among themselves and burnt as with fire, while Hashatan inflamed their hearts one with another and increased lust among them. Hashatan also taught Jinon to bring strong drink out of corn, and this Jinon used to bring together companies upon companies in drink houses, and brought into their hands all manner of fruits and flowers, and they drank together. Thus did this Jinon multiply sin exceedingly. He also acted with pride and taught the children of Cain to commit all manner of the grossest wickedness, which they knew not, and put them up to manifold doing, which they knew not before. Then Hashatan, when he saw that they yielded to Jinon and hearkened to him in everything he told them, rejoiced greatly, increased Jinon's understanding until he took iron and with it made weapons of war. Then when they were drunk, hatred and murder increased among them. One man used violence against another to teach him evil, taking his children and defiling them before him. And when men saw they were overcome, and saw others that were not overpowered, those who were beaten came to Jinon, took refuge with him, and he made them his confederates. Then sin increased among them greatly, until a man married his own sister or daughter or mother, and others, or the daughters or his father's sister, so that there was no more distinction of relationship, and they no longer knew what is iniquity, but did wickedly, and the earth was defiled with sin, and they angered Eliakim the judge who had created them. But Jinon gathered together companies upon companies that played on horns, right, and on all the other instruments we have already mentioned at the foot of the holy mountain. And they did as in order that the children of Seth who were on the holy mountain should hear it. But when the children of Seth heard the noise, they wandered and came by companies and stood on the top of the mountains and looked at those below. And they did thus a whole year. When at the end of that year Jinon saw that they were being won over to him little by little, Hashatan entered into him and taught him to make dyeing stuff for garments of divers patterns, made him understand how to dye crimson and purple and what not. And the sons of Cain, who wrought all this and shone in beauty and gorgeous apparel, gathered together at the foot of the mountain in splendor, with horns and gorgeous dresses and horse races, committing all manner of abominations. Meanwhile the children of Seth, who were on the holy mountain, prayed and praised Eliakim in the place of the hosts of angels who had fallen. Wherefore Eliakim had called them angels, because he rejoiced over them greatly. But after this they no longer kept his commandment, nor held by the promise he had made to their fathers, but they relaxed from their fasting and praying and from the counsel of Yahweh their father, and they kept on gathering together on the top of the mountain to look upon the children of Cain from morning until evening, and upon what they did upon their beautiful dresses and ornaments. Then the children of Cain looked up from below and saw the children of Seth standing in troops on the top of the mountain, and they called to them to come down to them. But the children of Seth said to them from above, We don't know the way. Then Enoch the son of Lamech heard them say they did not know the way, and he bethought himself how he might bring them down. Then Hashatan appeared to him by night, saying, There is no way to them to come down from the mountain on which they dwell. But when they come tomorrow, say to them, Come ye to the western side of the mountain. There you will find the way of a stream of water that comes down to the foot of the mountain between two hills. Come down that way to us. Then when it was day, Enoch blew the horns and beat the drums below the mountain as he was wont. The children of Seth heard it and came as they used to do. Then Enoch said to them, From down below, go to the western side of the mountain. There you will find the way to come down. But when the children of Seth heard these words from him, they went back into the cave to Yahweh to tell him all they had heard. Then when Yahweh heard it, he was grieved, for he knew that they would transgress his counsel. After this, 100 men of the children of Seth gathered together and said among themselves, Come, let us go down to the children of Cain and see what they do, and enjoy ourselves with them. But when Yahweh heard this of the 100 men, his very soul was moved, and his heart was grieved. He then arose with great favor, and stood in the midst of them, and adjured them by the blood of Abel the just, Let not one of you go down from this holy and pure mountain, in which our fathers have ordered us to dwell. But when Yahweh saw that they did not receive his words, he said unto them, O my good and innocent and holy children, know that when once you go down from this holy mountain, Elohim will not allow you to return again to it. He again adjured them, saying, I adjure by the death of our father Adam, and by the blood of Abel, of Seth, of Enos, of Canaan, and of Mahalalel, to hearken to me and to not go down from this holy mountain. And for the moment you leave it, you will be reft of life and of mercy, and you shall no longer be called children of Elohim, but children of the devil. But when they would not hearken to his words, Enoch at that time was already grown up and in his zeal for Elohim. So this is the Enoch that was translated, right? And this was the same, that's the same Enoch that wrote the book of Enoch, brothers and sisters. At that time, Enoch at that time was already grown up, and in his zeal for Elohim, he arose and said, Hear me, O ye sons of Seth, small and great, when ye transgress the commandment of our fathers, and go down from this holy mountain, ye shall not come up hither again forever. But they rose up against Enoch, and would not hearken to his words, but went down from the holy mountain. And when they looked at the daughters of Cain, at their beautiful figures, and at their hands and feet dyed with color and tattooed, you see that, tattooed in ornaments on their faces. So tattoo is nothing new, brothers and sisters. This comes from the seed and the serpent seed of Canaan. Do you understand, brothers and sisters? I just wanted to point that out to you. All of you see now in the modern time has been done in the ancient time, from the beginning of time. There is nothing new under the sun. This is why I encourage you, brothers and sisters, when you study the scriptures, you got to go back to the beginning to know the end. Because if you understand the beginning, you know what's going to happen in the end, brothers and sisters. There is nothing new under the sun. At the end of the day, the Most High Yahuwah and his Holy Son Yahushua will be victorious, and nothing can stop that fact. And when they looked at the daughters of Cain, at their beautiful figures, and at their hands and feet dyed with color and tattoo in ornaments, on their faces the fire of sin was kindled in them. Then Hashatan made them look most beautiful before the sons of Seth, as he also made the sons of Seth appear of fairest in the eyes of the daughters of Cain, so that the daughters of Cain lusted after the sons of Seth like ravenous beasts, and the sons of Seth after the daughters of Cain, until they committed abomination with them. But after they had thus fallen into this defilement, they returned by the way they had come and tried to ascend the holy mountain, but they could not, because the stones of that holy mountain were of fire flashing before them, by reason of which they could not go up again. And Elohim was angry with them and repented of them, because they had come down from glory and had thereby lost or forsaken their own purity or innocences, and were fallen into the defilement of sin. Then Elohim sent his word to Yared, saying, These thy children whom thou didst call my children, behold, they have transgressed my commandments, and have gone down to the abode of perdition and of sin. Send a messenger to those that are left, that they may not go down and be lost. Then Yared wept before Yahuwah and asked of him mercy and forgiveness, but he wished that his soul might depart from his body, rather than bear these words from Elohim about the going down of his children from the holy mountain. But he followed Elohim's order and preached unto them not to go down from that holy mountain, and not to hold intercourse with the children of Cain. But they heeded not his message and would not obey his counsel. Right, chapter 21, brothers and sisters. Yared dies in sorrow for his sons who had gone astray, a prediction of the flood. After this, another company gathered together, and they went to look after their brethren, but they perished as well as they. And so it was, a company after company, until only a few of them were left. Then Yared sickened from grief, and his sickness was such that the day of his death drew near. Then he called Enoch, his eldest son, and Methuselah, Enoch's son, and Lamech, the son of Methuselah, and Noah, the son of Lamech. And when they were come to him, he prayed over them and blessed them, and said to them, Ye are righteous, innocent sons. Go ye not down from this holy mountain, for behold, your children and your children's children have gone down from this holy mountain, and have estranged themselves from this holy mountain, through their abominable lust and transgression of God, of Elohim's commandments. But I know through the power of Elohim that he will not leave you on this holy mountain, because your children have transgressed his commandment, and that of our fathers which we had received from them. But, O my sons, Elohim will take you to a strange land, and ye never shall again return to behold your eyes and this garden and this holy mountain. Therefore, O my sons, set your hearts on your own self, and keep the commandments of Elohim which is with you. And when you go from this holy mountain into a strange land which you know not, take with you the body of our fathers Adam, and with it these three precious gifts and offerings, namely the gold, the incense, the myrrh, and let them be in the place where the body of our fathers Adam shall lay, and unto him of you whom shall be left, O my sons, shall the word of Elohim come. Right? When he goes out of this land, and shall take with him the body of our father Adam, and shall lay it in the middle of the earth, the place in which salvation shall be wrought. Then Noah said unto him, Who is he of us that shall be left? And Yared answered, Thou art he that shall be left, and thou shalt take the body of our father Adam from the cave, and place it with thee in the ark when the flood comes. And thy son Shem, who shall come out of the lions, he it is who shall lay the body of our father Adam in the middle of the earth, in the place when salvation shall come. Then Yared turned to his son Enoch and said unto him, Thou, my son, abide in this cave and minister diligently before the body of our father Adam all the days of thy life, and feed thy people in righteousness and innocence. And Yared said no more. His hands were loosened, his eyes closed, and he entered into rest like his fathers. His death took place in the 360th year of Noah, and in the 989th year of his son's life, on the 12th of Tahakises, on a Friday. Right? Alright, brothers and sisters. So the word Tahisa or Tahisa or Tahisa or Tisus, brothers and sisters, that's an Amharic word, and it means December. Tahisas, right? The 12th of December, 12th of Tahisas on a Friday. So let's read this over again, verse 13. Right? And Yared said, No more his hands was loosened. And Yared said, No more. His hands were loosened, his eyes closed, and he entered into rest like his fathers. His death took place in the 360th year of Noah and the 989th year of his own life. Right? On the 12th of Tahisas, or the 12th of December, on a Friday. But as Yared died, tears streamed down his face by reason of his great sorrow for the children of Seth who had fallen in his days. Then Enoch, Methuselah, Lamech, and Noah, these four wept over him, embalmed him carefully, and then laid him in the cave of treasures. Then they rose and mourned for him 40 days. And when these days were mourning were ended, Enoch, Methuselah, Lamech, and Noah remained in sorrow of heart, because their father had departed from them, and they saw him no more. Chapter 22. Right, brothers and sisters? Only 3 righteous men left in the world, the evil conditions of men prior to the flood. But Enoch kept the commandment of Yared his father and continued to minister in the cave. It is this Enoch who many wondered happened, and who also wrote a celebrated book, but those wonders may not be told in this place. Then after this the children of Seth went astray and fell, they, their children, and their wives. And when Enoch, Methuselah, Lamech, and Noah saw them, their hearts suffered by reason of their fall into doubt, full of unbelief, and they wept and sought of Elohim mercy to preserve them and to bring them out of that wicked generation. Enoch continued in his ministry before Yahuwah 385 years, and at the end of that time he became aware through the grace of Elohim that Elohim intended to remove him from the earth. He then said to his son, O my son. So at that time, brothers and sisters, right? At that time, in verse 4, Enoch lived 385 years before the Most High intended to take him and remove him from the earth, brothers and sisters, right? Verse 5. He then said to his son, O my son, I know that Elohim intends to bring the waters of the flood upon the earth and to destroy our creation, and ye are the last rulers over this people on this mountain. For I know that not one will be left you to beget children on this holy mountain, neither shall any one of you rule over the children of his people, neither shall any great company be left of you on this mountain. Enoch said also to them, Watch over your souls and hold fast by your fear of Elohim and by your service of him, and worship him in upright faith and service, and serve him in righteousness, innocence, and judgment, in repentance, and also in purity. When Enoch had ended his commandments to them, Elohim transported him from that mountain to the land of life, to the mansions of the righteous and of the chosen, the abode of paradise of joy in light that reaches up to heaven, light that is outside the light of this world, for it is the light of Elohim that fills the whole world, but which no place can contain. Thus, because Enoch was in the light of Elohim, he found himself out of the reach of death until Elohim would have him die. Altogether not one of our fathers or of our Altogether not one of our fathers or of their children remained on that holy mountain except those three, Methuselah, Lamech, and Noah. For all the rest went down from the mountain and fell into sin with the children of Cain. Therefore were they forbidden that mountain, and none remained on it but those three men. Here end the second book of Adam, from the lost books of the Bible and the forgotten book of Eden. This is a tragic end, brothers and sisters. A tragic end. And this fulfills what the scripture says about only a remnant of us shall be saved, brothers and sisters, because we hearken to the operation of our Satan, the guise and deception, and we will not guard our heart, mind, and soul from this wicked world and this world system. And the sad thing, you love to have it so, brothers and sisters. You love to have it so. You love the wickedness of this earth and think you can come back to the Most High whenever you ready, whenever you feel like it don't work like that, as you can see with the children of Seth. Right? Right, brothers and sisters? They think they could go down and mingle and mix with wickedness and then expect to come back to the Most High. It don't work like that. The scripture says, be not partakers of the evildoers. You understand, brothers and sisters? Don't walk in their company, because they will deceive you, brothers, if you're not strong. They will trick you. Right, brothers and sisters? Let's look at our similar scripture. Okay, brothers and sisters, turn your scriptures to Psalms 1 to 6, 1611 KJV. Right? Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly. Right off the back, brothers and sisters. So the Most High Yahuwah is telling you, blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of Yahuwah, and in his law doeth he meditate day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaves also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. The ungodly are not so, but are like the chaff which the wind driveth away. Therefore the ungodly shall not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For Yahuwah knoweth the way of the righteous, but the way of the ungodly shall perish, brothers and sisters. So don't think you can dabble in wickedness, dabble in abomination, dabble in blasphemy, and utter contempt for the Most High, and think you can just come back willy-nilly like that, brothers and sisters. You understand? You who are Hebrews, descendants of Hebrew slaves, need to come back to these laws, commandments, and statutes, brothers and sisters. It is the only therapy and the only way. But many of you would not take heed to this calling, just like our Seth children did not take heed, and their children. You understand? And you see the end result in the second book. Only 3 souls left. Right? 3 souls was left on the holy mountain, brothers and sisters. That represent the remnant of what the Holy Scriptures talk about. The King James Version 1611 speaks about. only a remnant of us shall be saved. Right? Only a remnant of us will say. That is very significant, brothers and sisters. Out of millions of descendants of Hebrew slaves scattered, only a remnant. How sad that is. When in fact all of us could be saved if we just come back to these laws, commandments, and statutes and stop thirst after the wickedness of this world and the shameless women. Right? If only we will come back to the Most High laws, commandments, and statutes, ye men of Judah and Benjamin and Levi. What a beautiful sight that is, if we forsake all wickedness and all the evils of this present world. How beautiful that would be, brothers and sisters. But again, the sad thing, many of you will continue to hearken to Shatan, continue to mingle and mix your seed with your oppressors. You will continue to find all manner of excuse as to why you don't want to come back to the Most High, as to why you think the scriptures are not real, as to why the Most High don't exist. You find all manner of excuse, and that's the working of the spirit of Shatan to lead you away from the Most High. Right? That's what he does, brothers and sisters. That's his specialty, is to lead you away from the salvation of Yahushua Mashiach. Right? That's what he does. He's a master of it. He's a father of lies, master of manipulation and deception. You know? Right, brothers and sisters? It's very, very sad. Very, very sad. You'd rather listen to the wicked of this world rather than the scriptures. You'd rather follow religion and their Egyptology and their pagan gods and their Christianity and their Islam and all manner of all manner of religion and all manner of talking heads. He said, just simply come to the source of life, which is the word of the Most High. And for this cause, this is what the Most High will do. For this cause, this is what Yahuwah is going to do, brothers and sisters. 2 Thessalonians 2, we're going to take it from verse 2 to the end, right? 17. Now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Adonai Yahushua Mashiach, and by our gathering together unto him, that ye be not soon shaken in mind or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter, as from us, as that day of the Mashiach is at hand. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, son of perdition. Right? Who opposes and exalted himself above all that is called Elohim, or that is worshipped, so that he as Elohim sitteth in the temple of Elohim, show himself that he is Elohim. And this verse 4 is a future prophecy that is connected to the third temple that they're going to build, brothers and sisters. And the Antichrist himself shall sit upon that throne in the temple, brothers and sisters, claiming to be Elohim, and shall deceive many. Verse 5, remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things. See, so is the Mashiach prophesying these things. For the mystery of iniquity doeth work already. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Right? Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. And then shall the wicked be revealed, whom Yahuwah shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with brightness of his coming. Even him whose coming is after the working of Shatan, with all power and sign, lying wonders, and with all deceivableness and of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. You see that? Verse 11, and for this cause Elohim shall send them strong delusion, that they should not believe, they should believe a lie. And for this cause Elohim shall send strong delusion, that they should believe a lie. And for this cause Elohim shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie, that they all might be damned, who believed not in the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. I'm going to repeat that again for you. That they all might be damned. Because this is the doing of the Most High Yahuwah, who believed not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. But we are bound to give thanks always to Elohim for you, brethren, beloved of Yahuwah, because Elohim hath from the beginning chosen you to salvation through sanctification of the Spirit and belief of the truth. So those who have the zeal of the Most High, brothers and sisters, you understand? Because we're not talking about the vagabond Jews, you know, regardless of their belief and religion that they choose to their damnation, and their God who they choose, the Hashatan, to their damnation. They're still Hebrews, but they are vagabond Jews, and they will be destroyed just like the children of Seth was destroyed. You understand, brothers and sisters? I just want to be clear on that. You understand? Right? So from the beginning, the Most High chose those people who have the zeal and the awakening of self and of their God and who they are as a people. You understand? Those were chosen from the foundation, from the beginning of the earth. You see what the scripture says, right? But we are bound to give thanks always to Elohim for you, brethren, beloved of Yahuwah, because Elohim had from the beginning chosen you to salvation. So what's the beginning, brothers and sisters? What's the beginning? Let there be light. Right? Right. Wherefore unto, verse 14, whereunto he called you by our gospel, to the obtaining of the glory of our Adonai Yahushua Mashiach. Therefore, brethren, stand fast and hold the traditions which ye have been taught, whether by word or by epistle. Now our Adonai Yahushua Mashiach himself and Elohim, even our Father, which had loved us and had given us everlasting consolation and good hope through grace, comfort your hearts and establish you in every good word and work, brothers and sisters. So on that note, Shalom.